everybody. I want to welcome you to our 17th episode of the Unwrapped Leader Podcast, where we get raw, real, and relevant with the new network marketing on becoming a gifted leader. My name is Dracy Dewar from Australia.
And I'm Teisha Dorianna from Canada.
Woo! And this episode is actually live. We've done 16 episodes so far. I think out of that, we did our number 10 live. So this is our second actual live with practice and performance. We are getting braver every day. And so kind of moving forward from this live, we are going to be doing our podcast live every week at this very time, 10:30 Brisbane time in Australia on Thursdays. And in Canada, it is at what time?
6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Perfect. And so, the odd pre-recorded one, of course, but in saying that, depending on our guest speakers. So we are looking for guests moving forward on these live podcasts again. So especially talking about leadership, branding, community, and mindset. So that is our brand pillars and moving forward. So let's get excited. So today's topic is going to be about leadership sucks. And to be honest, no, leadership doesn't suck. There just happens to be parts of leadership that suck. And so we thought that would be a really great topic as we move forward, because we love leadership and leadership has done so much for us. But I wanted to talk about, we want to continue building our brand, doing some courses as well as some training. And we are actually going to go on tour, live online tour. So you want to find out more about that. And we will be talking about at the end of this episode, the actual official launch date of our book. So as you can see, we've had some testimonies and reviews. We had, I believe, 25 people. We call them ARC readers, advanced readers copies, that were able to go out where they were able to read them and give some reviews. So hopefully you've seen some reviews, and we've even done some live, some podcasts with some of our reviewers. So I'm excited about that. So we thought we'd give away a book today. We got another book to give away next week. But so to get your chance in this basket to win, what you have to do is go on our website, the unwrappedleader.com, go on our wait list. Not only will you be announced when this will be officially launched, but we'll be telling you today. But your name will go in this draw to actually win a free copy of our book. So those of you that are listening in on a podcast, I'm showing our book, and Teisha's holding the pink bucket with your names. So Lisa, without further ado, let's do a drum roll. Who the lucky winner is.
Okay, I had to add in a lot of names too from the last time we did a draw. So let's see who our second book winner is. And, I recognize this name.
Do you?
Our winner, is, I don't know how to say her last name, but Dracy, you know her last name.
Heather McGritchen from Sunshine Coast, Australia. Woo!
There we go.
Congratulations,
also showing on the
Heather.
Instagram feed.
Yay.
So you are our second winner. Congratulations.
She'll be very excited. So Carolyn Thomas won the first book and Heather is the second book. That's two Australian winners there. Okay. So maybe we need to get
We're
some
due
Canadian
for a Canadian winner next.
Canadian winner.
Or
next.
US. We have a lot of US people too that are in our audience. I noticed. So you never
fantastic.
know.
Well, we want to continue this podcast as we talked about leadership. Doesn't really suck. Just things about it suck. So we thought we'd get into the really hard things about leadership and talk about how we've handled it, the tips that we have for you, and maybe some of our experiences. So the first thing we wanted to talk about is the emotions of leadership. And this topic is quite dear to my heart because, number one, we are women and we wear our heart on our sleeve. And, we got lots of things going on our lives. We got our family, we got our children, we got our friends. We're trying to run businesses. We're trying to run our homes. And we also go through a menstrual cycle. So we got all those things on our shoulders. It keeps our emotions usually right about here and sometimes lifting over the top. And so I know it's sometimes really hard to not get emotional about what's going on. And we want to act on principles, not emotions when it comes to our business. But there is something that we do want to be emotional about. And that is about people's dreams and goals. And I think it's really important to share and show those emotions through passion and enthusiasm and excitement for the people that we are leading and the people that are in our team in this beautiful community. So please learn that emotions are a great thing. But when you see emotions turn into something negative, that's something we love to talk about. It's how do we turn those emotions into something incredibly positive? How do we learn to set boundaries? How do we learn to respond versus react? And how do we actually learn to be principle-centered leaderships that are disciplined but still present? So Teisha, you're going to talk a little bit about boundaries and some of your experience. So why don't we first start off? And before we do that, that talking about emotional leader is one of the 4 traits that we actually talk about in our book. I will share the following traits in there, but I just want to say that is one of the traits that we do talk about. And then moving on is Teisha, share some of your experience and boundaries.
Yeah. So I think one of the hardest things about leadership for sure is learning how to set boundaries. And that was something that I had to learn the hard way. And I think most of us do learn the hard way. And something that I think comes up as a roadblock in your business could be boundaries. But, we always take away a lesson from that if we decide to. And so when it comes to setting boundaries, one of the first things I think of is business hours, because it's not something that most of us think of setting when we're first getting started. I think we're so caught up in how excited and fired up we are to get our businesses started. And especially when we start building our teams, we start to feel we look forward to helping people and making an impact. We want to see their success as well. And so I think we get caught up in thinking that we have to attend to people 24/7 and that we have to be there for them when they send us a question or when they need our help, they send us a phone call, we need to be there for them. And we tend to kind of, sometimes our personal relationships can suffer from that. And so definitely something that was a learning lesson for me. And so for one, business hours, I think too, if you're doing this kind of part-time or casually, I understand you kind of just do it in the moment. You do it, when you get time. But especially if you're looking to make this more of a, part-time, full-time, or even big time position, that's when the business hours get really important. Because one thing, when people you're getting new people started and you're bringing in new teammates, it's exciting and they have a lot of questions. I know when I started, the amount of questions I sent to Dracy, I always thought, oh my gosh, I am so annoying. Like, Dracy, I have my 50th question for the day. But she was amazing and great. But one thing she always did was led me in the right direction and kind of prompted me on how I can be a problem solver in the future, kind of told me where I could find the answer, not just give it to me, but telling me where to find it, telling me where I could ask it if she's ever not available. And another very solid lesson I learned as well is sometimes if you just let people be with their question for a couple hours, they're going to go out and find it themselves. And that was a lesson that I've learned, because I remember too coming into this and asking Dracy all the questions I had getting started. As soon as she kind of left me hanging for a couple hours and I'm like, okay, well, I don't know the answer to this question, I started to search and look and I would find it. And then I'm like, just kidding, I found it, don't worry. And the amount of messages that I've gotten as well from my team over the years of people saying, just kidding, I found it, right? That happens to all of us. But I think the one thing I want to make clear is that no one intentionally tries to abuse your time, right? Like when I got started, I just had so many questions. I was so excited. And I know when people coming into this too, new teammates, people are always saying to me, I'm so sorry, I'm so annoying, I have so many questions, but we never feel that. We want to help you and we're here to help you make an impact. We're here to help you succeed. So that's one thing I think that's really important to note, is that, people aren't trying to abuse their time. We just want to help people. And sometimes when we don't set business hours, we feel again that we have to be available to them all the time. But one thing that we have to remember is that we are always selling our position, even if it's to the people on our teams. If people see that I'm available 24/7 and people see that I'm answering their questions all the time, that's great for them. They're finding the answer, but they're also looking at you thinking, she's available all the time. She is constantly answering my question. When does she have time for herself? Is this something that I could really see myself doing? Do I ever see myself in her position? And so I have to think of it from that standpoint too. If I'm promoting a flexible lifestyle, a business where I have time to do the things that I love, I need to practice what I preach. And that's exactly how you do that, is by setting boundaries and setting your business hours. And also realizing that it's okay to say no. If, something isn't going to work at a certain time, it's okay to say no. You can, people, I feel like sometimes that word is frowned upon, or, there's things we feel like we always have to commit and do, but you don't want to overload your schedule. You want to make sure that you're not letting those personal relationships suffer. And you want to make sure that you're in control of your calendar. Do not let your calendar be in control of you. And by doing that, the best thing that I've learned is to always put your non-negotiables first. When you're planning out your month or even your year, depending on how far in advance you need to plan, put all those non-negotiables on there. That's family time, your date nights, your going to watch your kids' sports game or babysitting, whatever it is. Put those on there, and then let the rest of your business, your lifestyle, whatever you're trying to make of this, let it flow on there around those non-negotiables. And, make sure as well that, like I said, the business hours are set. I know it's hard to do that. Sometimes I still struggle with that. But also one thing is with new people, our priority does go towards new people as well, because we know that they have questions. We know that they're going to struggle more than people who have been around for a while. So sometimes, of course, if I'm just laying around and I see a question that, obviously it's important, we're trying to get their business launched, of course, I'm going to answer them and answer their question. I think sometimes we need to take, that those new teammates take priority. But just make sure that you're showing up and you're being genuine. You're able to, keep your relationships going, and that personal relationships, the personal side of things are not suffering because of your business. So that's kind of what I have to say about setting boundaries, is just, respecting yourself before gaining that respect from others. That's the most important thing. So Dracy, do you have anything that you want to add to that? Or before, I know you're going to get into the disgruntled or unhappy teammates, and that's another hard thing about leadership, but yeah, anything with setting boundaries that you've, learned in your experience that you want to add?
Well, first of all, you did an amazing job explaining that. And what I would add is that's what's so fantastic about our Facebook communities now. When you get them into the community, that they can go and ask the questions in that community. And it's amazing how people just like pop and help support them and help answer them too. So I think that has been really helpful in the new network marketing side of things. Back in the old days, we didn't have that. They were just completely reliant on myself. And we definitely didn't even have texts back then. So it was definitely a different ballgame. But I think the platforms and the resources are even that much better. The other one is, again, your family. Like, as you mentioned, there was 2 little tips that I always did. Like you said, you put your family time in first when you do your schedule. But I love giving my partner a highlighter, or the kids my highlighter, and say, go and put date night with, or go and put mom time, in the calendar first. And they actually go and do it themselves. And you find they don't actually put in as much time as you think they would have. They actually don't require or want as much. But the fact that they've taken the time to do that makes a massive amount of difference. So that was good in setting those boundaries. The other thing is, when I went out for dinner on date night, or, because we're ideas girls. We're always thinking of ideas, and we're having a dinner and this fantastic conversation. Of course, I'm thinking about my next podcast, but an idea, but having a little notebook. Well, now we got our phone, I quickly just go and put it in notes now, my idea, and then I can just let it go and I can enjoy the moment. And so that's probably been very impactful and a definitely big tip. So the next challenge in leadership is obviously disgruntled distributors or teammates. And that's really hard. I think, and what are they disgruntled about? Maybe they didn't get their order, or maybe they tried to place an order and something was wrong, or maybe a customer canceled an order. Like, these are very real issues, and they're very real problems. And they gather, again, these emotions. So I think it's important to acknowledge that it sucks, and acknowledge that this is a shitty thing that happened, and to actually help be a problem solver. That's what they're looking for, is help solve my problem. But what's important for you is not to take it personal, because if you're not there for them on that moment, they're going to go somewhere else. And that's why it's so important to create, again, boundaries and create culture within your team, so that person, if they go somewhere else, that person is going to help them get through the disgruntledness. So it's not about you or them talking about you, that it's actually about the problem and just being problem solvers. So that probably would be the big thing. And the number thing is, sometimes maybe they're disgruntled with you personally. And that could happen too. That's probably one of the things that we do weigh hard and heavy on our shoulders. But then when you know you've done your best and your personal best, and you can go to bed at night and hand on heart know that you've done your personal best, sometimes you're not going to please everybody. But when you stick to your true north, and we're going to talk about sticking to your true north, you know that in the end, they'll always come back. They'll always come back to you and have a conversation. And that's why communication is so important. And I think you're going to talk a little bit more about communication there, Teisha. So being able to communicate, not take things personally, help be a problem solver, address it, allow them, if they're disgruntled, it's okay, move through that emotion and find the solution together. And the more you help being a problem solver with them, you become the hero and a teammate, and they will be warriors for you. They'll be your army to stand up for you, because they know that your heart is in the right place and you're there to help them. So, okay. So sometimes disgruntled sometimes can turn into drama. And again, drama comes about your culture that you're creating. So how can we turn drama into something very personal and very productive and positive? So Teisha, do you want to share a little bit, or did you want to add anything to disgruntled teammates before you move on to drama in the team?
I think they kind of go hand in hand, right? And especially if it's, handled as best as you can, like you said, then you can move on. But sometimes it does kind of goes down into that drama. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of get into that. And like, I think that, with a team and the larger it grows too, you're going to have different personalities on there. You're going to have a lot of different types of people, and reality is not everyone gets along with everybody, and that is okay. But I think it's also important that people note that, you can still not have those like personal relationships with people that maybe you don't click with, but it's still important to remain professional in that sense. So, team drama is a common thing that could happen. And that's one thing that does really suck about leadership, is that, how do we control this, and how do we make it so it doesn't turn into something bad? And how do we control it so that other people on the team aren't kind of sucked into this? Because the truth is, we all need to vent about things. Like Dracy said, it could be something as simple as like an order doesn't come in good condition, a customer is angry, and then we're angry with that, but it depends where we bring it. And it also depends how we react to it. So we all need a vent. But one thing that, I do like to teach my team is that anything that's negative, bring it up, and anything that's positive, bring it down. So any sort of, negative energy or anything you need to get off your chest, do not bring it to your downline. Do not bring it to other people on the team. Always bring it up to your upline. Or if you're, you don't currently have an active upline, there's always someone higher that you could likely bring it to, because you don't want to bring that down, because that really puts like a damper just in the whole energy and the whole team culture. And as a leader, that's up to you to create that team culture. And again, it comes down to setting those team boundaries now with your team on what is acceptable and what is not. So anything negative, take it up. Anything positive that you have to say, always take it down and share that, with everyone and anyone, of course. And you want to teach that to your team, because drama, it can be like a cancer to your team. It will just continue to grow and grow and grow, especially if you allow it and you don't set those boundaries on your team. And one thing is, with Dracy was saying, communication is key in all this, because so much information can get lost through just different ways we communicate, whether that's online, whether that's through a comment. We really don't know the tone someone is really using when they're posting something or saying something through, a group chat. I always say, the best thing to do is try and resolve it with the person. But if you feel like you can't, always go up. And as a leader, I think it's important as well, just to never take sides and just kind of hear out everything. But, also kind of describe that team culture and those boundaries on your team as well, and what you expect from everyone in that shared space. Like, talk about how you want that to be a safe space for people to be in. That, there's people who are like, people need to remember, there's people who are just getting started. They maybe haven't experienced stuff like that before. Things that we can't control, right? Like an order coming in bad shape, a customer not being happy. We go through all of that. And I think if we all just work together, and honestly, every time you can choose collaboration over competition and work together, amazing things can happen. So, I mean, again, there's always going to be some sort of drama or something that doesn't go right. But, you want to remind people, this is, even though you're in this, how do they say, you're in it for yourself, but you're not in it by yourself. There's always going to be people around you to support you. But at the end of the day, stay in your own lane. Focus on what you can control. It makes the world's biggest difference when you could just focus on things you can control, because outside things, you're just becoming part of the problem and you're not becoming part of the solution. So we won't get along with anyone, but again, we can remain professional. We could remain classy through it all. And you just have to remember, you're in this business for yourself. You're not by yourself. You have a community, but you are in it for yourself. If you have those issues out, and you have to just kind of remember that. So as much as you can, eliminate that drama, set that team culture up. And just another thing to keep in mind when hearing different sides is that there is always more to the story that you are not going to know. You're not going to know necessarily what happened 24 hours before something broke out. You're not going to know maybe something that happened even in someone's childhood a long time ago that could have brought on whatever is happening now. You have no idea. So it's so important to just keep that in mind. Don't take things personal, especially if it's maybe a conflict between, yourself, the leader, and someone. I always like to use the 24-hour rule. If there is something that is, a problem between even you as a leader and someone, I give it 24 hours, because I know that 24 hours kind of gives people time to gain clarity, especially myself. Sometimes I'm not thinking, if I'm angry in the moment, I know I'm not thinking completely clear. And if I get 24 hours to really sleep on it and just sit with my thoughts, I can have a better, and I could just have a better quality conversation in general. So, at the end of the day, come from a point of service in everything you do. Let your values be your guide. And just, be that leader that helps everyone on your team change their life. And all you could do is really practice what you preach, and, give your team the culture you want to kind of just talk to them about that all the time, and reminding them about what your team stands for, and, what you could do to eliminate that drama and just have that, positive and strong team culture on your team. So, and I think now we're, Dracy does want to talk about just reactions, which I think is a good leeway. But Dracy, if there's anything you want to add to just team drama and anything you've handled, feel free.
I'm just so proud of you and the culture you are creating, and just seeing how wise you are at such a young age. And it's just really wonderful to see. And I just think it's fantastic. So I honestly, nip it in the butt. Stop at the hand to negativity, and create that team culture, I think, is really positive. Now, again, we're human, and it's a beautiful thing being human. And so what we can learn, though, as humans is to have better skills and how to handle difficult situations. As we know, it's not what happens to you, it's how you handle it. And so, reaction and response, and recovery. These are three very powerful words that have probably changed my life. It adds to my review and reflect. Ooh, there's the 5 R's. I get all excited when I get the rhythm going in my words. But I review and reflect every situation. And like Teisha said, you take those 24 hours before you actually respond to a difficult situation like that. Now, it's a tough one because you want to be responsive straight away and nip it in the butt. So it's being mindful, but also when there's emotions of anger and issues that really need to be addressed, is again, take that time to respond, write it down, write a letter, whether you use a letter or not, or send it, that's the different story. But the fact that you get it out on paper and you can reflect on it, and review it. And then my favorite R is rehearse. Before I address any difficult situation, I rehearse it in my head, again, before I actually address anything like that. So that has really helped in my recovery of any difficult situation, personally and professionally. I've had some really challenging times, obviously being in the business 30 years. And I can really, on a handful, think of 5 or 6 of them that have changed my life. Probably 3 or 4 that have life-changing. And imagine these are things I could have actually quit over it. And, one is, one that's really relevant to me back in when I very first started, and she was older than me. She had been in the industry, in party plan industry, for probably 20 or 30 years. She's probably in my age now. And I was the young, hotshot at 24 years old. And she was in my downline. So of course she didn't want to take I didn't have authority, but I was doing so well. And it really rubbed rubbed her the wrong way. She actually even asked if she could be put in a different team because I was too perky for you. Imagine someone saying you're too perky for them. Imagine someone saying, I don't want to be in your team anymore. I remember going to an event and I was promoting out to a quite a high level, promoted out 3 leaders that month. And I almost didn't show up because I was so nervous. And I just thought, I'm not going to be good enough. She's going to be in the audience. She's going to be watching me. Like, those were the things I went through. And it was just so grateful that I had somebody to have my back. Say, Dracy, have a coffee. Just show up when you're ready. You're coming. And I did show up. But it always makes me remember, had I quit because of that one woman, I wouldn't be where I am today. But she did make me step up to be more professional, to be more wise, and have the authority that I actually did have based on my actions and energy and efforts. So that the quote that comes with that is, to me, I saw her as like a piece of silver, a fine piece of silver, but if she didn't polish herself, she's going to be tarnished. And so that's why the importance of polishing yourself, the importance of learning new things, and the importance of developing skills. So that's why I've made it such a mission to polish myself in everything I do, to be polished, and to polish my skills all the time. Very much Brian Tracy, like learning new skills, and leadership and listening and communication has been a really rock solid one for me. And so that's what I would have to say. My hardest lessons have been my best lessons. And they are the one that has helped me grow in this business to the woman that I am today. So those of you out there that have really given me a hard time and have talked behind my back and all those sort of things, the best success is revenge. No, the best revenge is success. That's it. But again, it had to come down with the 4 agreements. The book I read by Don Miguez, I read this years ago, and it's the book I recommend to every woman that has any of these personal struggles. And I'm going to talk about them. There's actually the 4 agreements is now turned into 5, but I'm going to just bring them home right now. Number 1 is not to make assumptions. That's probably one of the things that we do is we make assumptions, and to stop making assumptions, assuming. We put a whole dialogue in our head and we don't even know what's actually happening. So stop making assumptions. Number 2 is don't take anything personal, especially being a leader. And when you can learn that, not to take things personal, it's just what they're going through. And like Teisha said, it could be a trigger or a trauma from their past, and they just need to be heard and seen and problem solve. So again, don't take it personal. And number 3 is be impeccable with your words. And what I mean by that, and what he means by that, it's not just by what you say, but what you say to yourself. When you say, oh, I suck, or that's really bad, these are things that your body is imprinting. So it's important to train the brain and use wise words and find the right words in moments when you have difficult situations, much like in leadership. And that's why it's so important to be impeccable with your words. Write those words down, review, reflect, rehearse, and you will have fantastic recovery in that. And number 4 is to just always do your best. If you personally, hand on heart, as I said, are doing your best, you can go to bed at night and know you've done your best. Like, I used to struggle after an event because I couldn't talk to everybody, and I want to make sure everybody felt welcomed, and I want to make sure everybody enjoyed the night and what they got out of it and the takeaways. And as you grow a large team, you can't do that for everybody. And when this is a business about remembering people and making people feel special, it gets harder and harder as you grow. And so that's why it's so important to create a team and a culture that helps do that with you, for you, and have that meet and greet team. So I can go to bed at night and know I did my personal best. And so number 5 happens to be the new one that he has. And it is about be skeptical about what you listen to. And that is really important. You need to learn, but you also need to be skeptical with what you hear, much like when you have the disgruntled or the drama going on. Again, be skeptical about it, because again, like Teisha said, there's always 2 sides to every story. And if you know your true north and you stick to your true north, it'll help you become a better leader. Teisha, I believe you're going to talk a little bit more about your true north. And this is my very favorite topic. All to you, Doc. Do you have anything to add to that?
They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So all of those hard times, just take it as a lesson and keep moving forward. All those tips too at the end, Dracy, were amazing. I feel like have learned a lot of those the hard way for sure. But I took it as a lesson and I kept going. And now I'm able to educate that to the people that are new coming into. So that brings me into sticking to your true north. So your true north is your inner compass, of course. It's, Dracy's even going to talk about the gut feelings and always going with your gut, and just, the true north that combines your values, your beliefs, your purpose, why you're doing what you're doing. People are always asking you or trying to get out of you when you get started in a network marketing business. What is your why? And sometimes it takes you time to really find your true why, or you have to dig deeper into it. But at the same time, you want to really dig deep to what are your true values, what are your true beliefs, and that could really lead you to that purpose of why you're doing what you're doing. And that helps you navigate your business and help you decide which, course of action that you're going to take next. So I always say, let your purpose guide every decision you make, and you will become an authentic leader. I can't express that enough. Don't try and put on a face of what you think people want you to believe or say or do, and just do what your gut tells you to do. And most of the time, people have a good heart in this. People want to make an impact. And if you can just stay true to yourself in that and in everything, all your decisions moving forward, that's when you can become an authentic leader. That's when you can become an unwrapped leader and truly unwrap the real gifts that you have to offer the world. It's so important to be grounded in your values. When you're grounded and you stick by them, even if it seems like an unpopular opinion at the time, that's when you could really find that bigger purpose and dig even deeper. To have integrity as a leader is so important. So to be honest with yourself and with others on your team, to show, that you're trustworthy. If people are telling you things, we talked about how important, that you're going to keep that, confidential to you, to the two of you, whoever you're having that conversation with, and be reliable, lead by example and practice what you preach, and also own up to your mistakes. That's really important. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't hide it. Show them the reality of leadership, just like we're doing today. Leadership sucks sometimes. And that's the message that we want to give to you guys. But at the end of the day, leadership is worth it, especially when you can stick to your true north and really, make every decision moving forward, staying strong to your values and your beliefs. That's what's really, really important to know. And, when you could just step into that bigger purpose, that's when all the magic happens. That's when you feel your best self, and you're not going to I feel like people start to feel sort of burnt out and tired when they're trying to be someone they're not. That's what's exhausting, is when you're trying to, be someone that you're not. And when you're just trying to kind of say things because you think people want to hear it, just say what you think and say what you believe, and people will respect you for that. So Dracy's going to get into these 4 traits that are some strong skill sets. Yeah, I can't say it. Strong skill sets. We both can't talk today. You on the stories we hear, but sorry. 4 strong skill sets that help you stick to your true north. So I'll let you be with that, Dracy, now.
Well done. Thank you, Teisha. And again, just highlighting the gut. I am a big advocate of listening to my gut. The times I've listened to my head or my heart, usually listening to your head is usually the opinions of others. When you listen to your heart, it's what others want for you. But when you listen to your gut, because your gut is what knows what wants for you and will look after you. So listen to that. I've never been guided wrong by my gut. It's when I've listened to the others. So finishing this off is, again, I'm going to talk about the importance of being a leader is being that trust, that transformation, and sticking to your true north. And if you learn these 4 traits, that'll help guide you. And so the 4 traits, as we talked about, being an emotional leader, knowing the difference between positive emotion and negative emotion, and how to channel that with people and the dreams and goals. And number 2, being that principled centered leader, as we talked about, knowing your values and knowing the character and creating good habits and creating good culture. And present leader, number 3, being a present leader, being there, making people feel special, important, and when you're with them, that they're the most important person, and being a problem solver, and just knowing that you don't know what's going on in their life right now. Maybe their husband had left them, or that somebody had passed away, or that and they're trying to be as professional and really show up, and they're having a hard time and may have said or done something that's not right and may have rubbed you the wrong way. So again, seek to understand and just be present, because that is the best gift you can give. And again, you will have that army be trusting on you. And then the last one is being a disciplined leader. That has all to do with the habits that you create, and being an action taker, and being a visionary, so you can take your army with you and move up the ladders and the ranks and the mountains together. So I think that is what I have to say. But all of it as Teisha said, is it is worth it. Because when you can see people like Teisha start in this being emotional, being radical, but she was so open and a sponge to learn and just see the wisdom and watching her grow into the woman and the leader that she has become makes it worth it. And as they said, one of my favorite quotes, and you'll read this in the book, is a true leader isn't based on how many followers they have. It's about how many masters they've created. So if you can create masters that can carry these kind of traits, that's not only changed their business, you've changed their lives personally and professionally. So, anything you wanted to add to that, Teisha?
You nailed it. And also thank you for all the kind words you've said about me. And every time I think, I've faced the hardest thing in the world, I haven't, right? Yeah. Something else is going to come forward and present itself, and you're going to have to overcome it and just keep going, because the journey keeps getting more and more exciting the more hardship that you overcome with it. So
Absolutely. Whew. Well, that was an exciting topic, talking about it. And as you know, you and I can talk about it forever. What we do know is that, again, it just happened to be some challenges we both experienced in the last week. Both of us personally had some challenges of being a leader that, just allowed us to have to really discuss it and work through it. And just, all the advice we give, we got to take on our own advice. So we thought this would be a great topic. We hope we've inspired you. We hope that we'll see you again. We got so much. We want to officially tell you the date that this book is going to be available to you. So first of all, let's do a drum roll of our official date. Do you want to start, Teisha? What date is this book actually going to be launched, that our viewers, our followers, our fans and family will be able to get their hands on this hot little copy? Because we've been talking about it for 4 months now. We're ready.
I know. And you know what?
We're ready to give birth to this baby.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like overdue. But it's here. It's an official date. It is not going to change. We are very excited to announce that the book is going to be officially out there for you guys to get your hands on in Canada on September 28th, and in Australia.
Australia, it'll be the next day, the same day, but it'll be the 29th of September. So, Teisha and I are going to do a very special podcast live right here, because of you and following us and being a family and friends, we want to share how you can get a copy of it for free. We want your hot little hands on it. So we'll tell you all about our plans and how you can have this copy based on our next podcast next week. And what else did you want to say to that? Was there anything?
So we're on the 7-day countdown. So if you haven't realized, that is a week away only. So next week at this same time, we're going to be coming live for episode 18, which is also going to be our book launch day. And we're going to give you guys all the information on there. Like Dracy said, we want everyone to have a chance to get a free copy. So if you guys tune in next week at the same time, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time in Canada and 10:30 a.m. AEST. I hope I'm saying that right, Dracy, right? Is that the time zone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Eastern Standard Time. Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, okay. Got it. So yes, that is the time zones, and it's the same time next week. We've made some arrangements so you guys can get your hands on one for sure. And we want you guys to help us become an Amazon bestseller. We have some huge goals that we've set for ourselves next week. And we're just so excited to officially launch this and give birth to our baby.
Give birth to our baby. And I guess we'll share the vision and where we're going to be taking this, our next steps on the next book. So as we close this up, thank you, Teisha. I love doing this with you. We just have so much fun doing these podcasts and training, and we can't wait to deliver some more. So thanks, everybody.
Absolutely.
I'll let you close it.
Yeah, for sure. I like these live episodes. I just think they're so much more interactive and fun. And Dracy, I'm just curious, can you see the Facebook comments? I can't see the Facebook comments.
I can't see Facebook comments. I can only see. So while you do the close, do you want me to quickly have a look at the Facebook? I'll have a look at our Facebook.
You can, comments. But we'll go back and check out if you guys had any questions or said anything. We're not ignoring you. We just literally can't see them since our phones are streaming on Instagram. We're here, whatever. We will go back and look at your comments. But Dracy, go ahead. I'll look through them. If there's anything at the end, I'll let you go through that. But just in closing, we want you guys to know leadership sucks at times, but it is very much worth it. The struggles are what help you grow, and it truly is a paycheck of the heart. and watching people grow, making an impact, that is what we love to see. And that is what, we really love to get out of it. So thank you guys again for watching this episode. We look forward to coming live with you every single week that we can. And if you guys are listening on YouTube later, since this will be uploaded tomorrow, we would so appreciate if you guys gave us a like. Let us know in the comments what your biggest takeaways were. And also you could share this live stream, whether like on Facebook or YouTube later with your teams, if you feel that this is a topic that they would get some great value out of. And last but not least, we are looking to grow our subscriber count on our YouTube. So wherever you're watching from, if you guys are not already subscribed to the Unwrapped Leader on YouTube, our name, just the Unwrapped Leader, go check it out. Hit us, toss us a subscribe. And this way you'll never miss out on an episode. As well as Dracy said at the beginning, but I have to say it one more time, get on our wait list. You have a week left, and we're going to be announcing one more free book next week. It's on the unwrappedleader.com. Get on there. And also by being on that wait list, you are going to become part of our email list so that we can let you know anytime we have any trainings, courses launching, because we have so much in store for you in the future. So make sure you guys go check that out. And we're just so excited for you guys to be part of our ongoing journey. So that is everything I have to say. Dracy, anything else in the comments you noticed or that you want to say to close it off?
Well, honey, thank you so much for being my partner in crime, allowing us to grow and be the women that we have been destined to be, and to share to the audience and the world our wisdom and all of our love for, 100% being better personally and professionally. So thank you, darling.
Thank you, Dracy. Bye, guys.